The child embodies our ultimate vision, that every Filipino learner will realize their full potential and ultimately reach their biggest dreams, no matter how high, no matter how hard, through quality education. And as our learners aim to soar, we must continue to elevate our goals. Rising, the kite is our emblem of aspiration to deliver the brand of quality in Philippine basic education. The quadrants of the soaring kite symbolize the key reform areas in forwarding this cause, as we embark on this aggressive reform to yield upskilled teachers, well-developed curriculum, improved learning environment, and responsive multi-stakeholder cooperation. Using the colors of our flag, the logo symbolizes our unity and serves as a reminder that it takes a nation to educate a child. Together, we as a nation will have to move forward and gain more momentum so that our vision of quality basic education for all shall take flight. Sama-sama sa pagsulong ng edukalidad.
Well, hello, Mrs. Morgan. Remember how hard it was to get your students' attention? Oh, Mr. Jeski, any explosive ideas? And you, Mr. Fisher, the world keeps turning, right? Okay, we're past all that, because now we have Microsoft Educator Center. Trainings, courses, webinars, programs, badges, points, certificates. Join now and get yourself ready for the new school year. Teach your best.
Nang sumiklab ang giyera sa Marawi, maraming buhay at kabuhayan ang nawala. Maraming kabahayan at paaralan ang napinsala. Sa kabila ng matinding suliranin, naging matagumpay ang DepEd na mabigyan ang mga mag-aaral ng pagkakataong ipagpatuloy ang edukasyon at muling bumangon sa sitwasyon. Habang naghihintay sa pagkumpuni at pagsasaayos ng mga paaralan, nagkaloob ang DepEd ng mga temporary learning shelters, remedial classes, learning kits, at feeding programs para sa mga displaced learners. Nabigla ang lahat sa pag-alboruto ng Bulkang Taal. Libo-libong pamilya, kabilang ang mga guro at mag-aaral, ang nawalan ng tirahan at mga ari-arian. Mabilis ang naging tugon ng DepEd upang makapagpatuloy sa pag-aaral ang mga apektadong mag-aaral. Sinikap ng mga guro na turuan ang mga mag-aaral na pansamantalang tumuloy sa evacuation center. Tumama sa bansa ang COVID-19 pandemic, dahilan upang maantala ang normal na daloy ng pamumuhay at trabaho sa lahat ng sektor, kabilang na ang kagawaran ng edukasyon. Nang ipatupad ang Luzon lockdown, inilunsad ang DepEd Commons upang tuloy ang pagkatuto ng mga learners habang nasa bahay. Sa kabila ng mabigat na hamon sa ilalim ng new normal, patuloy na nagpunyagi ang DepEd upang maghanap at maghatid ng mga alternatibong pamamaraan upang magpatuloy ang edukasyon sa pinakaligtas at pinakaangkop na paraan. Sa ilalim ng Learning Continuity Plan, layunin ng DepEd na magpatuloy ang edukasyon nang hindi nakokompromiso ang kapakanan at kalusugan ng mga guro at mag-aaral. Isusulong ng DepEd ang tatlong pangunahing layunin: angkop na proteksyon, kaugnay ng mga health standards at safety protocols para sa ligtas na school year, patuloy na edukasyon sa pamamagitan ng blended learning, distance learning at homeschooling na angkop sa kapasidad ng bawat mag-aaral, at mabisang aksyon sa pakikipagtulungan sa lokal na pamahalaan at mga partner organizations upang maihatid ang dekalidad na edukasyon para sa lahat. Bawat DepEd Division ay bumuo rin ng sarili nilang Learning Continuity Plan upang gabayan ang mga guro, mga magulang at mga mag-aaral sa bagong pamamaraan ng pag-aaral gamit ang online, modular at TV and radio-based instructions. Gamit ang iba't ibang learning modalities, nagdaos ng dry run ang mga paaralan sa iba't ibang bahagi ng bansa, katuwang ang mga local government units at mga education partners upang maging handa sa bagong sistema ng edukasyon. Isinagawa rin ang mga pagsasanay at oryentasyon sa mga magulang upang maging epektibong katuwang sa pag-aaral ng kanilang mga anak. Sa anumang hamon o sitwasyon, handa ang DepEd. Handang kumilos, handang tumugon, at handang magserbisyo.
Ang dami ng mga pagsusubok at challenges ang naharap at napagtagumpayan ng ating Department of Education. Tuwing may pagsusubok, priority palagi natin ang ating learners at ang ating mga teachers sa tulong ng parents at saka partners at ang buong bansa. Ngayon, sa hinaharap natin itong new normal na sinasabi nila, matatag ang ating kagawaran, matatag ang DepEd dahil pinagtibay na tayo ng panahon. Kayang-kaya natin ito sa tulong ninyo.
G'day everyone, I'm Mark. As a teacher and a former principal, I know that professional learning often comes at the end of a very long day. But there are exciting, less structured ways to be in the driver's seat of your own lifelong learning. A great place to start is by engaging with our Microsoft Innovative Educator, or MIE, community. This global community is big, in fact it's enormous. Our MIEs love connecting. Monthly tweet meets are global gatherings of inspiring educators around big topics, and their Facebook group acts as a persistent home for discussions and shared activities. Another way teachers are learning within communities is through Microsoft Teams. Now, greater teacher collaboration improves teaching across schools, and Teams is the ultimate platform for a professional learning community. It's open-walled and socially embedded, so you can incorporate your OneNote Staff Notebook PLC and have access to all the goodness of video chat, phone, and collaboration tools. With Immersive Reader built in, it's inclusive and accessible on any device. Your learning community is just a click away. Last tip, our Microsoft Education Centre offers great ways to gain new skills with courses tailored uniquely to your needs. Make it a collaborative experience by picking a MEC course to do together with your peers. And as a bonus, you can practice collaborative learning by exploring a research paper like the Class of 2030, and treat it just like a book club with your colleagues face-to-face or in Teams. The link to that research, it's in the description. Remember, learning is socially embedded. It's best done together for students and for teachers. Happy learning.
2020 brought new beginnings for the Department of Education. Ready to pivot towards attaining quality education, DepEd was hopeful of the challenges ahead of it. But as DepEd continued to work on its commitment, the world suddenly faced a steeper dilemma. Around the globe, countries like the Philippines had to shift their priorities to respond to a public health crisis brought by COVID-19. Schools had to be closed, activities had to be halted, graduation ceremonies had to be canceled, as people were urged to stay at home. A new normal dawned upon us. As soon as DepEd realized the impact of these disruptions in education, it began to proactively craft its learning continuity plan last April to ensure that learning opportunities will still be available. Consulting with partners and advisors through the Education Forum, as well as legislators, teachers, parents, learners, and the general public, DepEd made sure its LCP encompasses the concerns of the whole education sector in responding to the crisis. Its topmost priority being the protection of the health, safety, and well-being of learners, teachers, and personnel. To make informed decisions, DepEd first analyzed relevant data and epidemiological picture for the incoming school year. DepEd also issued guidelines on its required health standards to be adopted in all public and private schools and DepEd offices following DOH and IATF protocols. It covers 4 COVID-19 mitigation objectives, namely, to increase physical and mental resilience, reduce transmission, reduce contact, and reduce duration of infection. The LCP also outlined how learning continuity will be ensured. It streamlines the K-12 curriculum into the most essential learning competencies and allows the use of distance learning, homeschooling, and blended learning modalities. Since conducting face-to-face classes will be a risk in most areas, DepEd has anchored its delivery of education to modular, online, TV and radio, or a combination of all. Guided by teachers, modular learning will allow learners to use self-learning modules in a format applicable to learners' capacity. In online distance learning, teachers will facilitate and engage learners' participation through the internet, whether synchronous or asynchronous. TV and radio-based instructions, on the other hand, are converted lessons fit for the broadcast medium. The LCP assures that all our learners, including our SPED, ALS, Madrasa students, can still access education even within the confines of their homes, and ensures that their household capacity will not hinder their right to education. To make this possible, our joint Brigada Eskwela and Oplan Balik Eskwela is assisting the preparations for the rollout of the LCP. On May 8, the LCP was approved by the IATF. The President also gave it his full support and expressed his commitment to meeting the financial demands of its execution. The implementation of the LCP will not be easy. It is not a perfect plan, and complications can be expected along the way. But extraordinary times call for extraordinary and proactive measures, and the Department of Education is ready to address the challenges along the way with the help of our national and local government, partners, parents, and learners. As one nation, learning opportunities shall be available in this brave new world for our Filipino children.
When you need the focus to be on you and not whatever that guy's doing, open Teams.
Subukan mo! Tutal nawasak na naman namin ang lahat ng ari-arian nyo!
Sa totoong buhay, totoo ang pinsala ng giyera. Mula noon hanggang ngayon. Para limitahan ang kalupitan ng giyera, nagkaisa ang mga bansa 70 taon na ang nakalipas upang itaguyod ang Geneva Conventions. Ang Geneva Conventions ay kinikilala ng buong mundo bilang bahagi ng international humanitarian law na nagtatakda ng mga patakaran ng giyera o the rules of war. Ayon dito, huwag gawing target ang mga sibilyan at kanilang mga ari-arian. Tratuhin sa makataong paraan ang mga nabilanggo at protektahan ng mga doktor, nurse at mga ospital para paglingkuran ang mga sugatan at may sakit saan man panig sila nagmula. Alamin ang Geneva Conventions. Bisitahin ang www.therulesofwar.org.
Hi guys! So I just came from a meeting and I was just told that I would be leading this fundraising concert for International Students Day. And I have to present the plan to the school board next week. Okay, I'm going to need some help. Let me create a team space and invite my dream team. Sia, she knows all about the budgeting and stuff. Ivan, he knows all the kids from the performing arts group. Aisha, she worked on getting sponsorship last year. And Sam, because he's so cute. Let me lay out all tasks in Planner and kick things off. So, I'm almost done with my event concept and inspiration board. I just need Ivan to do some final tweaks and plug in the repertoire. Budget from Sia? Check. Sponsorship plan? Check. Done! Whew! When you start using Microsoft Teams, teamwork really does become easier. So now I'm heading over to present the plan to the school board. Wish me luck!
De Luna,
Present!
Herrera,
Present!
Valera.
Present!
Handa ba tayo sa school year 2020?
Present!
Ngayong taon, ang edukasyon tuloy pa rin. Sa tulong ng DepEd, mga guro at mga magulang, ang handang isip, handa bukas. Tuloy-tuloy ang pag-aaral. May mga modules para sa iba't ibang antas. Sa government TV, maging sa radyo. Mahalagang ligtas ang ating mga estudyante at guro. Kaya kahit nasa bahay, tuloy ang edukasyon. Kung tulong-tulong, may paraan, may aralan.
Handang isip, handa bukas.
Bisitahin ang DepEd Philippines sa Facebook at ang deped.gov.ph.
If you spend more time tracking down files than actually working on them, open Teams.
The COVID-19 pandemic has brought unprecedented changes to our usual ways of living. But the Department of Education remains unfazed by these challenges to fulfill the mission of Sulong Edukalidad, the rallying call for national effort to deliver quality basic education to all Filipinos, which involve aggressive reforms in the 4 key areas: the K-12 curriculum review and update, improving the learning environment, teachers upskilling and reskilling, and engagement of stakeholders for support and collaboration to move forward together as we prepare the education system for the future. The call for Sulong Edukalidad will continue, and we have built the framework of the basic education Education Learning Continuity Plan, or the BELCP, to put the needs of the learners at top priority. DepEd's BELCP is the major response and commitment to protect the health, safety, and well-being of learners, teachers, and personnel. The plan aims to provide opportunities to continue education even in these trying times with a BELCP in place, supported by an unprecedented number of diverse stakeholders from the academe, media, industry groups, NGOs, business and private individuals. Sulong Edukalidad will be able to sustain the aims in its reform for quality basic education. In our journey towards quality education, we have established the 4 pillars of aggressive reforms from the start, and we have been continuing to progress in these pillars. In improving the learning environment, we took action in the construction and rehabilitation of school buildings, ensured the availability of learning materials and equipment, and prioritized our last mile schools. The challenges of the pandemic also brought to light the urgent need to upgrade our ICT infrastructure to service the needs of education. In terms of the teachers' upskilling and reskilling, we were able to establish more innovative professional standards for teachers and school heads. We have aligned the professional development of teachers with their career progression to track their development as part of the National Educators Academy of the Philippines transformation. With the launch of the Education Futures program, where we will be focusing on innovative actions and solutions to improve the state of our education, we are now more than ready to start a new journey and continue our fight for quality education for all Filipino learners. Finally, we've given high importance to the engagement of stakeholders for support and collaboration. In support of this, we have convened the Philippine Forum for Accessible Quality Basic Education, or the Education Forum, which will leverage other partnerships for education quality and strengthen partnership with the Philippine Normal University as the country's National Center for Teacher Education. The department has also been developing a professional development program for teachers and school leaders in order to equip them with the skills, materials, and data that will allow them to help their students prepare for PISA 2022. This intervention consists of the following components: online training for teachers and school leaders, development of learning materials and practice tests for students, deepening the analysis of the PISA 2018 results, and supporting school-level action research. Now that the year is about to end, our commitment to Sulong Edukalidad will continue and will be far from being gone. With a lot at stake, considering our new knowledge and experience from this year's challenges, we are equipped to face a new future. As we head on to the future where we will face many challenges and uncertainties, the department will always be the guardian of every Filipino learner's right to education.
Sino ba ang hindi naapektuhan? Sino ba ang hindi nag-alala? Sino ba ang hindi nalito? Lahat tayo ay naapektuhan. Lahat tayo ay nag-aalala. Lahat tayo ay nalito. Dahil binago ng pandemyang dulot ng COVID-19 ang paraan ng pamumuhay ng lahat ng mga Pilipino saan mang sektor ka nabibilang. Tumigil ang panandalian ang ating mga nakagawian. Tumigil ang lahat ng uri ng transaksyon. Tumigil ang lahat ng operasyon ng mga paaralan. Nakalilito. Nakakaba. Paano na ang kinabukasan ng mga kabataan? Paano na tayo sa hinaharap? Opisyal na nilulunsad ng Kagawaran ng Edukasyon sa pangunguna ng Office of the Undersecretary for Curriculum and Instruction ang DepEd Teaches. Ito ay isang online na programa na gagabay sa mga guro, tagapangasiwa, magulang at mag-aaral hinggil sa mga pagbabago sa batayang edukasyon ngayong new normal. Ang DepEd Teaches ay angkla sa sulong edukalidad na nakatuon sa 4 na pangunahing pangangailangan ng mapunyaging reforma tungo sa makalidad na pagtuturo at pagkatuto. Una, pagre-review at pagsasapanahon ng kurikulum ng K-12. Ikalawa, pagpapaunlad ng kapaligirang pampagkatuto. Ikatlo, paglinang ng mga bagong kasanayan sa mga guro. At ang ikaapat, ang pakikipag-ugnay sa mga stakeholder para sa suporta at kolaborasyon. Sa pamamagitan ng virtual learning platform, ang DepEd Teaches ang magsisilbing bukas na komunidad ng pagsasanay na titipon sa mga guro, tagapamunong pang-edukasyon at sa sinumang may pagnanais sa pagtataguyod ng kalidad na edukasyon sa bansa at sa pagtagumpay ng bawat Pilipinong mag-aaral. Ang mga opisyal, education specialist, learning content expert at outstanding teacher ng DepEd ang magiging tagapanayam na magbabahagi ng kanilang kaalaman at kasanayan sa kurikulum, pagtuturo at pagkatuto, pagtataya at lahat ng kaugnay na mahalaga sa proseso ng pagtuturo at pagkatuto sa new normal. Bilang mga frontliner ng classroom, inaasahang magiging aktibo ang mga guro sa programang ito. Ang mga tema at paksa ay angkop sa kanilang pangangailangan at konteksto sa pamamagitan ng accessible na platform, ang social media. Sumali na sa OUCI family sa DepEd Teaches, kung sama-sama mapahuhusay pa ang mga guro, kung sama-sama higit na malilinang natin ang mga mag-aaral.
Sending feel-good vibes to all our viewers in our Facebook pages, the DepEd Teaches, DepEd Philippines, DepEd Tayo, and as well in DepEd YouTube channel. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another comparatively short yet free and memorable learning journey exclusive here in DepEd Teaches as we embark together in learning about K-12 pedagogical approaches to achieve learning outcomes in our today's episode. I believe you will agree with me that ever since this lockdown, we are fortunate enough that our access to continuous professional development has increased. In fact, DepEd has been incessantly providing ways to help you and sharpen your skills as teachers on different learning delivery modalities. But remember, despite the changes as to how we deliver instruction, time-tested approaches remain relevant. And so today, that will be the focus of our presentation. Hello, Miss Anna. Good afternoon. What do you think about our episode today?
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Hello, Sir July. When you were saying about journey, I just can picture out that we are like pilgrims and we have this ultimate goal that is learning together so we can give the best to our learners. You know, it may sound cliche, but learning is a journey that never ends. And that's what we promise here in DepEd Teaches. We keep ourselves abreast on the trends and issues in education. And to add, as we journey together, we get to know more about ourselves and extend that knowledge to others. So in today's episode, we will revisit the K-12 pedagogical approaches and how these approaches fit together in a bigger picture. That is the new normal. But before we get down to business, let me share with you some answers from our viewers last week who diligently completed the exit ticket. So we have one from Miss Heidi Herbito. She said that she has learned the 6 strategies that enhance instructional practice. I hope, dear viewers, you still remember those 6 strategies because these are effective and empirical based strategies, and this might be part of the evaluation. So while watching, just a gentle reminder, don't forget to take down notes or find a way where you can review all the episodes under the theme Content Knowledge and Pedagogy. Sir July, do we have another response?
Thank you, Miss Anna. So for the past 2 episodes, we have been asking you, what are your learning? What have you learned? What things that you have relearned and even unlearned? So let me read to you Ma'am Hannah Bautista's answer. She said that I learned about research-based strategies for learning or for distance learning. I relearned that challenges are good and our students benefit from it. What I must unlearn is giving exercises that do not challenge them. That's a good takeaway because an element of challenge in a lesson will motivate our learners and to think and to take risk and to learn from mistakes. So thank you so much, Ma'am Hannah Bautista, and as well to all our viewers who shared their insights from our last episodes. So again, we encourage you to join us in our discussion. Don't hesitate to share your learning. But before we proceed to the highlight of this activity, we have prepared a mini challenge for you. We want to test your prior knowledge and viewing skill if you're really paying attention.
All right, so we prepare 2 questions. Feel free to type in your answer in the comment section. Please show the first question now. So based on the K-12 policy as stipulated in DepEd Order number 21 series of 2019, what are the main pedagogical approaches that our curriculum adopts? Again, what are the main pedagogical approaches in our curriculum? Please type in your answer now.
Okay, so before we reveal the answers for today's presentation, we have another reflective question, something that you need to ponder about. Okay, so let us show them our second question. What pedagogical approach do you primarily use in your instruction this school year? How similar or different is your approach in face-to-face as compared in the uh, present learning delivery modality that you are adapting? So again, what pedagogical approach that do you primarily use in your instruction this school year? And how similar or different is your approach in face-to-face as compared to the present learning delivery modality or LDM that you are adapting? Okay, so you may type in now in the comment section your answer. All right. Before we delve deeper, I'm certain you are all excited to learn, relearn, and unlearn about pedagogical approaches in the new normal. We won't keep you waiting, so let's meet and greet our resource person today.
So it is our honor to introduce to you our resource person, Director Isabelita M. Borres, having dedicated 40 years at the Department of Education, has experience working with multiple roles as a high school classroom teacher, college instructor, department head, school planning officer, researcher, education program specialist, graduate school professor, division education supervisor, regional education supervisor, Assistant Schools Division Superintendent of Butuan City and of Misamis Occidental, Schools Division Superintendent of Siargao and Surigao del Norte, Assistant Regional Director of Region 13, and Regional Director of DepEd Region 13 Caraga Region, Region 12 Central Mindanao, Region 3 Central Luzon, and Region 9 Zamboanga Peninsula. Dr. Borres also acted as Director of Project Management Services at PITAF of DepEd Central Office. A graduate of PhD in Educational Management in Ateneo de Cagayan of Northern Mindanao and Master of Arts in Education specializing in non-formal education, Dr. Borres had been engaged in international scholarship programs in curriculum development and instructional leadership, like in Israel, Thailand, Paraguay, Korea, Australia, China, Brunei, Harvard University, Cambridge, USA, Indonesia, and New Zealand.
Director Borres has also actively participated in international conferences in various countries such as the Finland, Rwanda in Africa, Korea, Atlanta in USA, Indonesia, Japan, among others. She was also awarded an Outstanding Educator by Johnson & Johnson in 2005 for her remarkable promotion of women's health program. Dr. Borres has continuously espoused her passion for women's development through the Department of Education and her involvement in the Girl Scouts movement with its varied engagement in adolescence and reproductive health, women's vocational and technical training program, and values development and innovation and peace education. Ladies and gentlemen, with a warm welcome, let us all give a big warm of applause to the Regional Director of DepEd Region 9 Zamboanga Peninsula, none other than Director Isabelita M. Borres.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this episode 13 of DepEd Teaches. First, we'd like to congratulate and, of course, thank Undersecretary Dad San Antonio, Asik Almatorio, Director Joyce Andaya, and, of course, the staff, Sir Jolivin and Ma'am Kimberly, for having us sharing this afternoon the continuation, the sequel of the pedagogical approach. If you remember, 2 weeks ago, we were talking about information technology. Digitization is the name of the game. And I think last week you were also studying about research-based type of an approach. And they are all good approaches and they can be captured, as I discussed with you this afternoon, the 4 pedagogical approach. And we'd like to inform you that these are all the required rudiments, so to say, in the whole of the teaching learning spectrum. Remember, we start with our lesson preparation, which will include the concept as well as the objectives. In our parlance, the competencies. So we have the old minimum learning competencies, and we now have the most essential learning competencies. So yun po ang first part. And then, the way the teacher delivers in the classroom is what we call the pedagogy, the methodology. In the other parlance, methods and techniques or approaches. And then we end up with our lesson delivery with an assessment. Kaya ito po yung teaching learning spectrum, the 3 phases, the preparation, the execution, and the evaluation. Then, ano po yung kagamitan ng mga approaches which will be incorporated doon sa pedagogy? Okay? And the first that we will be learning is about collaborative approach. From the root word collaborate, which means magtutulong-tulong po tayo, collaborative. And in a classical definition, it provides actually an interactive or cooperative learning resources or approaches. Yung nagtulong-tulungan. Kasi that is actually the key word for collaboration. And then meron pong interaction among learners and also interaction with the learning materials or not just the reading material or other learning materials na makikita. But in our case, kasi pupunta tayo sa the new normal or the blended learning modality, wala siyang kasama sa pag-aaral kasi naka-home-based learning ang mga bata. Nag-iisa po siya doon. So paano po ma-articulate? How do we translate collaborative approach in the self-learning modules? Kaya tatalakayin natin yung ating mga SLMs na ginagawa, yung mga modules natin, at tingnan natin kung pasok ba si collaborative learning approach. But essentially, in the classical concept of collaborative learning, papasok din po yun ang gamit ng technology, di ba? Pero yung maganda yung mga interactive technology at marami po tayo niyan. We have seen the DepEd GMA, we have seen the Knowledge Channel, and even the Solar TV episodes. And then, ang lahat po na nag-sponsor ng mga learning modalities, delivery of the SLMs through radio or TV-based modality, marami pong ginagawa natin yan. And then, in the classical approach, meron po tayong mga group discussions, so to say, kasi nagdi-discuss ang mga kabataan, nagbe-brainstorm, each one contributes, kaya nagagawa yung collaborative approach, either in the methodology affecting the learners or in the concept itself by way of its technology. Pero going back to how it should be translated into our SLM, ito po ang gagawin natin sa ating mga SLMs. Dapat po meron din pagsasanay o pagtatalakay of any research relative to a material. For example, ibang topic natin ngayon is photosynthesis. Nagdi-discuss na doon sa pagtataya o kaya pagsusuri, ano ang dapat na malaman, alamin, in considering all the parts in our module. So magbabasa ang bata. Then may mga tanong po sa dulo. Doon po ang tinatawag natin na pagtataya. Ano ang dapat niyang isagot. Pero pag pwede po siya pagawan, meron din tayong pong part doon na gawin. Ano ang gagawin? Or alamin. And then lagyan natin ng isang request for a research that she or he can do also by use of technology. Ang bilis na ngayon mag-surf at saka mag-google for research using our cell phones and of course our gadgets. And then another way is yung collaborative, meaning meron pa siyang gagawin. For example, he can be using interview na sa bahay lang because we all know part of our health protocols, wala pong magsialisa ng bahay, nasa bahay lang po, lalo na po ang mga bata, kasi wala pa tayong vaccine for children. Meron po tayong vaccine for adults. Ayun ang mangyayari. And the better way, the better approach to do collaborative is, meron po siyang extended work, like gagawa po siya ng isang album o kaya diorama, yung magdodrawing, which is also an application of arts na ginagamit ng bata. So may concept ng science, pinadrawing mo, pasok si arts, di ba? Collaboration of the learning areas. Okay. Yung next po na approach, kung alam na natin yung collaborative, ito naman po si integrative. Parang magkaparehas lang sila, no? Pero take note, itong integrative approach considers similarities and differences. Yung collaborative, yung pagsasanay na each one contributes to an idea. But integrative approach is actually content-based na siya, na students have the ownership of their own learning and then going into some critical inquiries, pero they will learn about the concept better if it is correlated with other learning areas. Okay, the key word there is there should be some point of delineation that will determine either similarities or differences. Pero per experience, maganda po yung ang anchor natin ng integration is actually similarities, relevance, magkatugma-tugma, magkaparehas ng konsepto kung ano yung tinuturo sa mga bata. And then looking into what we call entry points. Saan papasok yan? Entry points. For what? yung topic na related. So, relevance, related. Kaya, yan ang concept ng integrative approach. Isang konsepto ng isang subject or learning area, maipasok sa isang another related subject area. Okay, kaya in the classical way of delivering it, it really would tell an active learning approach or engagement ng ating mga kabataan. And secondly, this is the key word that we could correlate with the word integrative. Ito pong yung thematic approach from the word theme, meaning pareha sila ng konsepto. The themes are similar. Okay. Ngayon, gumagamit ang mga bata ng SLM. Paano yun maging integrative approach? Ito po yun. That's what I have discussed earlier. Meaning, yung isang konsepto ng isang asignatura, kukunin at ilalatad at compare natin sa isang asignatura. Okay. But per experience, ganito po yung ginagawa namin. Hindi po kami nag-cross ng grade levels like grade 4 to grade 6. We just cross the learning areas. So we call it an interdisciplinary approach. Yun ang integration, yung interdisciplinary approach. But hindi po lahat ng 8 asignaturas magkatugma-tugma. Kaya dapat talaga pag-aaralan kung ano yung mga similar learning competencies. For example, I'll show you gumagawa kami ng sa first quarter dito sa Region 9 kasi nahihirapan po kami considering limited resources and limited time. Gumagawa po kami ng what we call thematic approach or thematic modules. Kaya nandito po yung thematic modules. And this is an integrative approach. Like for example, lahat po ng competencies, lalo po na po sa most essential learning competencies, nilalatad po namin lahat, yung 8 asignaturas, per grade level, then per grading period. So ano yung pang quarter 1, pang quarter 2, pang quarter 3, at pang quarter 4, di po ba? And then we learned that there will be a minimum of 8 learning competencies per subject area. Kasi ang 1 quarter ngayon is equivalent to 2 months or 8 weeks. So yung 8 na yan na competencies, na-enumerate namin, and then nagko-compare kami ng 8 asignatura like English, Math, Science, EPP, down the line to MAPET, Araling Panlipunan, and then Values Education, or in the case sa elementary, ang ating usual GMRC. So for example, sa grade 3, quarter 1, ano ba ang competency doon? Nagsasabi doon na children should learn already the 3 state of matter like liquid, gas, at solid. Pero doon sa first quarter, first week is liquid. So yun ang concept, no? Parang yun ang construct, liquid. But sa English, ang topic po doon is children should know already what are the kinds of nouns, proper nouns and common nouns. Okay. Then, sa math po, ang concept din na nakita namin is measurement. Measurement lang ng 10,000 or 1,000 kasi yun po ang range ng delivery of mathematical concepts sa grade 3. Okay, so this is what went on. So, kinuha namin yung science as our anchor core subject para magawa po yung integrative approach using the modality utilizing the entry points. So, ang concept doon ng entry is liquid. Liquid. Ano ba ang klase ng mga liquid? So, for example, water. For example, alcohol. Wow, alcohol. And then, pasok po, what are the kinds of alcohol? Kasi ang alcohol is a common noun. Di sabi ng mga bata, or we can ask through their self-learning modules, ipadrawing natin, mayroong alcohol na ang pangalan is casino. Meron din green cross. Meron ding clean. So in other words, ito yung mga proper nouns, specific names of a liquid. So common noun is alcohol, and that is liquid, which is science. And then proper nouns, itong iba't ibang klase. Meron pa tayong rhea alcohol, ang daming mga alcohol ngayon. Meron pa nga mercury or banned alcohol, ang dami. But these are all proper nouns, di ba? So proper nouns, and then common nouns. Paki-check ng proper common nouns. And then, tingnan natin, how many ml? So, 500 ml. So, 500 ml plus another 500 500 ml, 1,000. Pasok po ang competency ng mathematics. So isang alcohol, isang bottle or bote will have 500 ml. If the measurement for grade 3 is about 1,000 or 10,000, di doon ka maglalaro ng tanong, ilang alcohol ng ganito para makagawa ka ng 5,000? Tag 500, parang 10, di ba? So yun. So this is what we call an integrative approach. And this is used in our SLM per experience that we have had using the thematic approach. Ano pa po yung isang concept na dapat nating alamin about delivery or pedagogical approach as we are using now self-learning modules? Inquiry-based. Yun po ang pangatlo na I'd like to share with you this afternoon. Ang root word po niyan is inquire. And inquire means to ask a question, di ba? Inquiry. So, dito makikita mo na ang classical scenario in the past classroom setting that we have. Nagtatanong ang guro, and then we adapt the mechanism or the approach using the higher order thinking skills or HATS. Then, pwede po pa ang tanong na yan i-share ng mga bata. Iba yung magtatanong, ibang grupo din yung magsagot. So, parang cooperative learning that yung isang grupo with 8 pupils, each one will be given a role to play. Sino yung mag-present, sino yung mag-discuss, sino ang magtanong ng what, where, when, sino ang magtanong din ng how and why. Kasi sa inquiry-based, it is always anchored on the questions being asked. And we all know na meron tayong level of the higher order thinking skills question. Pag ordinary lang po ng what, where, when, ay ano yan, level 1. Pag mag-compare na tayo, pasok na po si level 2. But if you explore now, why, how, what if this will not happen, if this will not happen, may mga tanong yan which will form part of the third level of the higher order thinking skills. Now, sa SLM, wala naman tayong tanungan kasi nag-iisa nga ang bata. Pwede po yun i-include sa assessment sa dulo po, yung pagtataya or ano pa ang dapat niya gawin. Pero pwede po itanong doon, kung ilagay mo itong alcohol ng 5 minuto sa tasa or sa baso at isang tubig ilagay mo rin sa isang tasa or baso, and then mag-uuras ka kasi pasok na rin si 5 minutes, no? Parang time element na rin ng pag-aralan, which is a mathematical concept. Tapos ang bata nag-o-observe, sinulat niya ano ang nangyayari. And then, you follow it with the question, bakit nawala o nabawasan ang alcohol sa tasa after 5 minutes? Wow, what a beautiful HATS question, which is really inquiry-based. Yung bata na gumagawa on her own using the self-learning modules at home kasi nag-iisa siya. Pwede naman din siya magtanong sa kanyang ate o kaya kuya kung may matanungan o kaya kanyang lolo. Kaya maganda po yung interactive sa normal scenario kasi nagtatanungan ang mga bata. Pero in this case, nagtatanong lang siya whoever is available at home, or if not, isulat na lang niya. So that will form part, that own activity is inquiry-based. Nagpapagawa tayo, and we really have thought of activities sa mga SLMs natin that will really explore inquiry, which is really part of developing critical thinking or higher order thinking skills. So, in a normal scenario, meron tayong si teacher nagtatanong ng bata, o di kaya yung bata nagtatanong din kay teacher, di ba? Pero maganda talaga yung evaluation na learner to learner or what we call pupil to pupil evaluation. Si Maria nagtatanong, "Oh Jose, do you have the same results sa experiment ko?" And then sabi niya, "Oo, madali nang nabawas yung tubig. Ito bang nangyari sa inyo, Diego?" Oo, tatanong naman si Diego. Parang it's really an inquiry, nagtatanungan ang mga bata. You know, in a normal classroom, ang gandang pakinggan niyang inquiry-based approach. As a science teacher in the past, ang ganda yung mga validation ng mga observation. If you let the pupils ask question by letting other pupils answer those questions. Maganda po yung learner-to-learner evaluation. hindi na po masyadong maganda yung nagtatanong si teacher and then nagsagot ang bata and then siya very good. Ang ganda pag nagtanong si teacher tapos i-bounce back niya, oh, tama ba yung sagot ni Diego Josefa? Then sabi ni Josefa, oo, kasi kasama ko si Lina. And then Lina, oo, kasama ko si Maria, di ba? That is really the beautiful part of an inquiry-based approach, which is very common in science. Ay maganda naman yan sa araling panlipunan. Ngayon, magtatanong tayo, oh, talaga ba na si Lapu-Lapu ang nagpumatay kay Magellan? Bakit nangyari yun? Yun. Paano nangyari yun? Hindi, nag-create ng imaginative envisioning ang mga bata, no? And they can read history books. Nagre-research ulit sila. Kaya sabi ko, no single pedagogy can substantiate a learner's curiosity. Dapat talaga combination yan, di ba? Pag hindi masagot, di magre-research ka. So, instead po na magtatanong tayo sa SLM ng mga fill in the blanks or multiple choice, maganda maggawa ka ng mga open-ended questions, lalo na pagpapasok si how and why. Why alcohol evaporates easily compared to water. Okay. How Magellan discovered the Philippines. Ayan, mga tanong yan na of higher order thinking skills. And ang maganda pong i-discuss. Ngayon, wala tayong face-to-face interaction nasa SLM. The most that we can suggest in the blended learning modality, we enrich our SLM. If not, make an activity. Pero yung activity na home-based, no? Magtanong-tanong lang ang mga bata. So, pasok talaga yung interview type kasi nagtatanong. And then, i-record lang ni learner, ano ang sagot ni Lolo, ano ang sagot ni Kuya. And then, mag-analyze na lang siya sa mga diversified answers or different replies na nagawa niya through interview. Yung interview per se is also a research methodology, di ba? So, yung mga research-based, which was your discussion last week. And then, pag wala namang tao, di nag-Google siya, nagsusurf, nagtatanong using Messenger and Facebook, di, kompleto na siya ng IT. Di ba? Inquiry lang siya, pero blended na rin siya kasi all other gadgets are utilized. Anyway, ganito po talaga ang learning mechanism natin. Anywhere, anytime, learning comes in. Okay. Yung last po na dapat kong i-share sa inyo is ito po. Ang ganda ito, and this is really of the higher level of comprehension. Ito yung constructivism. Ang naisalang po diyan sa ating memo is constructivist. Kasi ito yung ginagawa ng mga scientists, the version of constructivism. Pero ang root word din nito is construct, meaning to construct is to build. Diba? To build. So what are being built? You know, from the word building, di ba? Ang laki. Walang building po na maliit. But you cannot have a building pag wala po siyang mga little things. You cannot have a big concept pag wala po yung mga maliliit. Kaya yung construct is actually a definition, a meaning na nabuo because you have little things that will complete the picture. And ito talaga yung basis for the classical teaching methodology that we learned when we were taking up our teaching strat sa undergrad natin, di ba? I think many of you have gotten teaching strat 1, teaching strat 2, teaching strat 3. Sa aming unang panahon po namin, aming mga contemporaries, isa lang po yung amin na naka 6 units, yung practice teaching and observation na-expose kami for that type of methodology or approach. Pero ito po yung basis that so-called inductive and deductive approach. Ano po po yung inductive approach? From the word induction din, no? Deductive, deduction. Magdideduce ka, igagawa ka ng malaki, i-classify by chunks or fragments. Ito naman si induction is little things and then making a general concept. So from the simple, concrete ideas, then gagawa ka ng isang concept na malaki which we call a construct or a concept using inductive approach. Then yung deductive is meron kang general concept tapos hinimay-himay mo, gagawa ka ng discussion. Or one concept like how do you produce a pancake, or how do you produce, or how does the nature produce a rainbow. Yon, may mga steps to be followed. Or the better picture talaga is, how do you keep yourselves safe in this time of pandemic? Di may step 1 ka, step 2. First, use face mask. Then gawa ka rin ng face shield. Then you wash your hands, di ba? Oh, then stay at home. Ito po yung mga 4 na konsepto which will give you a concept of keeping myself healthy and safe in COVID pandemic time. But if you reverse that, gawin mo, how do you keep yourselves safe and healthy in this pandemic time? Di isa-isahin mo muna. Then, primero, maggawa ka ng, you wear face mask, may face shield ka, hand washing, etc. So, yun po ang kabuuan. Mag-start ka ng mga maliliit, making you a good concept. Or, mag-start ka ng malaki, and then hihimay-himayin mo, you put fragments and complementary concepts that will complete the whole concept. So, ito na ang pagkagawa ng construction. In other words, yung mga konsepto na na-construct, na na-build, na-develop are products of either you cite examples. Magaling talaga yung mag-cite ng examples. In fact, our foundation in learning, when we teach basic concepts of science and math, is actually a constructivist view. Kasi doon ka mag-start sa little things, then you can, from the little things, little ideas, you derive the concept. Kaya if you notice, how do we teach math actually? Diba? Sinabi natin, oh, ito po is a concept of 10. Concept of 1. Anong 1? Hindi maintindihan ng bata yung 1, but if you show 1 piece, like ito, 1 ball pen, may concept na siya. O, 1 fan, isang pamaypay, 1 na pala. 1 cellphone, yung mga 1 pala, yan, isa. But if you say, for example, isang ballpen, tapos another ballpen, 2. Di nagsabi, yan pala ang 2. May madagdag. So, the concept of 2 is developed by citing showing actual subject. So actually, yung concrete will give you the abstract. Kasi if you just introduce 2, sa isang bata, hindi na malalaman ano yan si 2. Ano ba yan, hayop or katawan or naanghel sa langit, hindi. But if you start showing them concrete, ito yung 1. Adagdag ako, so this is 2. O ito, 1. Then magdagdag ako isa uli, daging 2. Then magdagdag pa ako uli, 3. So ito yung 1, 2, 1, 2, then 3. So, makuha na ng bata yung concept ng 3 kasi na-introduce niya yung concrete materials. And that's how we introduce, as I said earlier, subjects which are really of abstract process. But kailangan talaga yung abstraction because most of the science concepts, even mathematics, physics, you go upward, calculus, trigonometry, abstract lahat niyan. Lalo na sa geometry, 1 obtuse angle, 1 right angle. Ano yan? Kasi hindi talaga makita ng isang mag-aaral yon. Pero ngayon, ang challenge is, how do we translate that in an SLM? Ang hirap kayan iwala nang mag-discuss, wala na si teacher, maggawa-gawa nito. So, ang technique niyan sa ating self-learning module, may gagawin siya. Magkuha ka ng isang baso. Then, ipadrawing mo kaya para pasok si arts. Magkuha ka pa ng isang baso. Pakulay mo ng isang red, yellow. Magkuha ka pa ng isang baso. Yon. So, ang technique of introducing constructive approach is through activities. Yung activity na 1 by 1 na magawa. Okay, pwede rin gawin mo. Maghugas ka ng kamay. Then, after washing your hands, you get soap. Yon, hand washing na yon. Then you sing happy birthday, that's for 3 minutes. Then wash mo na, then sa pababa, pailalim, then rinse it with water. So ano ang na-develop na concept? Hand washing. But you introduce the step. You let him do it. Napasok yan sa activity sheets. So you introduce science, naka-introduce ka pa ng, pag nag-drawing ka, nag-color-color, naka-introduce ka pa ng concept and skills in arts, and then Yung step delivery is actually a part of making myself healthy. And if you ask, why? Papasok po si Sayan. And if you write, let him write down. Okay, kindly write what you feel when you are doing it. Pasok si communication. Nahihirapan ka ba? O, Filipino yan. O did you enjoy? Do you enjoy hand washing? Nagsulat ang bata. So may open-ended din. So pasok pa rin si constructivism and yung all other concepts. Pasok din si integrative. Diba? So yun ang mga ginagawa natin as teachers. We introduce our learners to different types of pedagogy. And remember, there is no one single outstanding pedagogy. Lahat po yan is a combination of one or two. Just like our blended approach on the self-learning modality for basic education, we really have to have a combination of all of those. So for all of you who are listening, I hope you have learn and enjoy also a little of what we are sharing. This is from DepEd Region 9, RDBet Borres. Maraming salamat po. Muchísimas gracias. Buenas tardes a todos.
Thank you so much, Director Isabelita Borres, for an enlightening and in-depth presentation on how the pedagogical approaches are contextualized and used in remote and blended learning. We are grateful for the time and effort that you took to share your thoughts and experiences here in DepEd Teaches. Since we are in the new normal, I believe everyone has benefited immediately from the approaches that Director Borres illustrated to us. Once again, thank you so much, Director Borres. Now, we remind our viewers to share your takeaways by telling us what you have learned, relearned, and unlearned in today's episode. Don't forget to use the hashtag I support DepEd Teaches and hashtag DepEd Teaches episode 13. Again, we would like to invite our viewers to answer our exit ticket for today. Please answer and complete the following STEM phrases in the comment section of your Facebook Live streaming page. So here are the STEM phrases. First one, today I learned about blank. Second, it is good to relearn that blank. And finally, what I must unlearn is blank.
All right. So, thank you so much again, Regional Director Isabelita M. Borres, for journeying with us. So just keep on sharing your insights here in DepEd Teaches comment section, and more so, you can also post your answer on your personal Facebook page and Twitter about our exit ticket. So before we end, we just have a few announcements. For episodes 11 to 14, we will only have a single registration and one evaluation. For you to receive your certificates of appearance and participation, you must pass the evaluation next week, so don't miss any of the 4 episodes under the theme Content Knowledge and Pedagogy. You can rewatch all episodes on our official Facebook page, DepEd Teaches. Once again, driven by wanderlust and desire to continuous learning, we hope to see you again next week.
On behalf of the Curriculum and Instruction Strand, thank you once again for accompanying us in this journey filled with lessons to learn and experiences to enjoy. For here in DepEd Teaches, our mission is empowering teachers, enabling learners. A wonderful afternoon, everyone.